In the fading light of an autumn evening, Michael wandered the crowded streets of the city with a heavy heart and even heavier footsteps. Once a diligent worker with dreams of a secure future, he now found himself jobless and desperate. The weight of unpaid bills and mounting debts pressed upon him like a relentless storm, yet he clung to the faint hope that tomorrow might bring a new beginning. Every step he took resonated with a profound sense of loss, and the bustling crowd only deepened his isolation. Michael's thoughts were interrupted when he noticed a stranger, a man whose eyes held both a mysterious sadness and an inexplicable warmth. This stranger, clad in a tattered coat despite the mild chill of the evening, stood silently by a dimly lit corner. His presence seemed almost spectral against the urban backdrop, evoking a feeling that he belonged to another time. As Michael approached, the stranger extended a trembling hand, holding out a small, worn envelope as if it contained something precious beyond measure. Although Michael's pockets were nearly empty, his heart recognized the stranger's vulnerability. In that fraught moment, the last dollar he possessed, an insignificant coin by normal standards, became a symbol of hope and solidarity. Michael pressed the crumpled note into the stranger's hand, his own heart pounding with both despair and a glimmer of empathy. The stranger's eyes glistened with gratitude, and in a soft, almost imperceptible voice he murmured, "This will change everything." With that enigmatic remark, the stranger melted into the crowd, leaving Michael with a sense of both confusion and a profound moral quandary. How could a simple act of kindness, rendered in the midst of his personal ruin, possibly alter the course of fate? The question haunted him as he continued his meandering journey home under the flickering streetlights, each step echoing with the silent promise of redemption. At home, in the modest apartment he now reluctantly called his own, Michael replayed the encounter in his mind. His surroundings, sparsely furnished and bearing the marks of hardship, could hardly match the richness of his thoughts. Every detail, the trembling of the stranger's hand, the soft urgency in his voice, even the weight of that solitary dollar, seemed to possess an almost faded significance. The simple act had awakened in him a dormant sense of purpose. Perhaps in helping someone in need, he was also mending parts of his own broken spirit. As night deepened, Michael lay awake, his mind churning with questions. Was the stranger a mere desperate soul, or did he carry the burden of a hidden past? The possibility of danger mingled with the allure of mystery. Michael's sleep was disturbed by restless dreams in which the stranger reappeared, sometimes as a benefactor, sometimes as a warning of unseen perils. In these dreams, Michael was both the giver and the receiver, caught in a perpetual cycle of loss and redemption. The moral weight of his act settled upon him like a cloak, its fabric woven with threads of hope, risk, and an unknown destiny. In the following morning's pale light, Michael ventured out with a cautious optimism that had not been present in recent weeks. He frequented a small cafe on the corner of a busy street, a place where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the murmur of hopeful conversations seemed to promise a better day. There, amidst the clatter of cups and the low hum of friendly banter, he attempted to reconcile the mysteries of the previous night with the stark realities of his current existence. Every passing moment at the cafe was a reminder of his lost opportunities, yet also a chance to reclaim some semblance of dignity. Michael's internal dialogue grew louder as he began to notice subtle, inexplicable occurrences. A local newspaper headline hinted at a mysterious benefactor in the community, a man whose generosity was whispered about in hushed tones in back alleys and worn-down neighborhoods. Michael's mind raced. Could the stranger have been connected to this burgeoning story of hope? Had his simple act of kindness set in motion a chain of events far beyond his understanding? Each question deepened the mystery, and the mystery, in turn, began to stitch itself into the fabric of Michael's own narrative. Yet, amidst the intrigue and uncertainty, a recurring theme emerged in Michael's thoughts, the notion that even in the darkest moments, a single act of compassion can ignite a spark of transformation. His struggle to maintain his dignity in the face of overwhelming adversity lent his every gesture a quiet bravery. Though he was impoverished and nearly forgotten by the world, he had managed, in that fleeting moment, to extend a lifeline to another human being. And in doing so, he rediscovered a measure of self-respect that had long been buried under layers of regret and despair. By the time the day waned into a vibrant dusk, Michael found himself unable to shake the memory of the stranger's parting words. "This will change everything." The phrase echoed in his mind like an incantation, stirring a potent mixture of apprehension and hope. As he closed his eyes that night, Michael silently vowed that regardless of the uncertain path ahead, he would remain true to the moral compass that guided him. His heart, fragile yet resilient, was prepared to confront the trials that lay ahead, even if those trials promised both peril and the possibility of unexpected miracles. In that quiet moment of introspection, Michael realized that the act of giving was not merely a transaction of money or goodwill. It was a profound declaration of faith in the inherent goodness of humanity. As the night wrapped its silent shroud around him, he embraced the mystery of the stranger and the transformative power of a single, desperate act of kindness. Little did he know that the events set in motion that fateful evening would soon spiral into a series of revelations that would upend his world in ways he could scarcely imagine. The next morning, a chill had replaced the lingering warmth of Michael's fleeting hope. The city was shrouded in an overcast sky, its dullness mirroring the uncertainty that now gnawed at him. As he stepped outside, the echo of the stranger's parting words still haunted his thoughts. "This will change everything." Michael couldn't shake the impression that fate was at work, a silent force setting events into motion in ways he could scarcely understand. He spent the day with a persistent restlessness, his mind oscillating between memories of the previous night and the monotony of his current struggles. Every passing face on the busy sidewalk, every brief interaction in the small cafe, seemed to hint at a secret narrative unfolding beyond his immediate awareness. The day dragged on, and with it the anticipation grew. Michael's heart throbbed with an inexplicable mix of dread and expectation, as though he were standing on the brink of a revelation that would upend his world. As dusk crept over the city once again, Michael returned to his modest apartment with a sense of resignation and curiosity. He had not received any news or hints about the stranger or the mysterious envelope, only the persistent whisper of his own conscience urging him to believe that every act of kindness held hidden meaning. That night, as Michael lay in the darkness, his thoughts swirled with possibilities. He recalled the faint warmth in the stranger's eyes and wondered if perhaps his small act had sparked an unforeseen chain reaction. The following day, as the city began to stir with the usual clamor of life, Michael's battered phone suddenly rang. Its shrill tones sliced through the morning stillness, jolting him from his quiet reverie. With a trembling hand, he answered the call. On the other end was a voice, measured, calm, yet laden with an urgency that immediately set Michael on edge. "Is this Michael? My name is Detective Anderson. I need to speak with you regarding a matter of great importance." The voice stated, crisp and unwavering. Michael's pulse quickened. He hesitated for a fraction of a second before responding, "Yes, Detective. What is this about?" There was a brief pause, as though the detective were weighing his words carefully. "I'm calling about an incident that occurred 3 days ago. It appears you had an encounter with an individual who is now connected to a high-profile investigation. We believe the information you inadvertently provided through your gesture may be linked to a series of events currently under review." Michael's mind raced. His solitary act of kindness, donating his last dollar, had unexpectedly thrust him into a vortex of uncertainty and potential danger. The detective continued, "We have reason to believe that the envelope you witnessed contained documents of considerable significance. They pertain to a covert operation involving financial fraud and deep-seated corruption. Your encounter, though seemingly inconsequential, has turned out to be pivotal. I must ask, do you recall any details about the individual?" Any peculiarities in his manner or anything that might help us identify him? Michael's thoughts flitted back to that fateful evening. He was unremarkable in many ways, yet there was something about him, an air of mystery and an undercurrent of melancholy. I remember his eyes, though tired, held a spark of determination. But I can't say I noticed anything overtly suspicious. The detective's measured tone was tempered by a hint of urgency. It's imperative that you share every detail you can remember, no matter how trivial it might seem. Your memory could be the key to unraveling this case. The weight of the situation pressed on Michael. His act of compassion, born out of desperation, had inadvertently linked him to a world of secrets and investigations far beyond his comprehension. With each word exchanged, Michael felt as though he were navigating a labyrinth of hidden truths. The detective's questions slowly chipped away at the fragile veneer of Michael's ordinary life, revealing the underbelly of a broader, more intricate plot. As the conversation drew to a close, Detective Anderson left Michael with a single, cryptic message. We are tracing a network of transactions and communications that could expose a criminal organization operating in plain sight. Your small act might have disrupted their plans. Please, if you notice anything unusual or receive further contact, do not hesitate to reach out. The call ended abruptly, leaving Michael in a stunned silence that was as deafening as it was clarifying. In the hours that followed, Michael grappled with a torrent of emotions. Shock mingled with a dawning sense of responsibility as he began to comprehend the magnitude of his inadvertent involvement. His lonely existence, marked by financial ruin and existential uncertainty, had unexpectedly intersected with the high-stakes realm of crime and justice. The moral dilemma was palpable. Had his kindness inadvertently endangered him, or was it, in fact, the catalyst for a larger effort to bring about justice and accountability? That evening, as rain began to tap gently against his window pane, Michael sat by a solitary lamp and reflected deeply. He thought about the strange interplay of fate and free will, and how a single act, often dismissed as insignificant, could alter the lives of many. The detective's words reverberated in his mind, challenging him to reconsider his understanding of compassion, duty, and the inherent risks of doing what one believes is right. In that quiet, introspective moment, Michael resolved that he would no longer be a passive bystander to his own fate. Instead, he would embrace this unexpected role, however dangerous or uncertain it might be, with the conviction that true integrity sometimes demands courage in the face of peril. As the rain intensified outside, Michael felt a subtle stirring within him, a burgeoning determination to seek the truth, to stand by his moral choice even when the path was fraught with danger. It was a profound reminder that even in the most desolate moments, hope and purpose could emerge from the smallest gestures. In a world shadowed by corruption and deceit, his act of kindness had taken on an entirely new dimension, transforming him from a forgotten man into an unexpected guardian of justice. The night drew to a close with Michael still awake, a storm raging both outside and within his heart. The detective's call had shattered the monotony of his desolation, leaving in its wake a promise of danger, truth, and redemption. Michael knew that his journey was only beginning, and that each step forward would require not only the courage to face uncertainty, but also the wisdom to understand the profound moral lessons hidden within every twist of fate. As the first light of dawn crept through the threadbare curtains, Michael awoke with a heart pounding in anticipation of the day ahead. The weight of the previous night's revelations had given way to a fierce determination, a burning need to uncover the truth behind the cryptic message and the mysterious network implicated in his act of kindness. The phone call from Detective Anderson had not only shaken him, but had also thrust him into a labyrinth of secrets that he was now compelled to navigate. Michael's newfound purpose was clear. He would follow the clues, even if it meant confronting the darkness head-on. That morning, Michael retraced his steps from that fateful evening, revisiting the dimly lit street corner where the stranger had once stood. Under the pale glow of an early sun, The spot appeared almost ordinary, a forgotten intersection amidst the relentless churn of city life. Yet, for Michael, every detail now whispered hidden meanings. The chill in the air seemed to carry fragments of whispered conversations and the unspoken promises of danger. In his heart, he carried both a fragile hope and a dawning certainty that his life was on the verge of irrevocable change. Determined to piece together the puzzle, Michael began to share his encounter with those he trusted. A small circle of friends who, despite their own struggles, believed in the power of truth and justice. They advised him to contact Detective Anderson again, to help build a timeline and examine any other leads that might shed light on the enigmatic stranger's identity. With their support bolstering his resolve, Michael dialed the number provided, and soon found himself meeting the detective in a quiet, nondescript park away from prying eyes. Detective Anderson greeted him with a mix of cautious professionalism and genuine empathy. "Michael," he began, "your testimony has been invaluable. We've traced part of the financial trail and discovered that the envelope you received contained documents linking several influential figures to a vast fraud network. Your small act disrupted a critical transfer of information, a move that may have prevented further crimes." The detective's measured tone resonated with the gravity of the situation, yet Michael sensed that there was still more to the story than met the eye. As they delved deeper into the case, Michael learned that the investigation stretched far beyond the petty crimes he had once been resigned to in his own life. The documents hinted at a widespread corruption scheme involving a web of corporate and political power. Each revelation compounded the danger, yet Michael felt a renewed sense of responsibility. His decision to give his last dollar, an act of compassion that seemed so insignificant at the time, had inadvertently played a part in dismantling a network built on deceit and exploitation. Days turned into sleepless nights as Michael and Detective Anderson pieced together the puzzle. The investigation led them through shadowy corridors of power, clandestine meetings, and moments of heart-stopping suspense. Michael, once a man defined by his misfortune, now found himself as a key witness and unexpected ally in a fight against corruption. Every twist in the case reinforced a simple truth. Even in the depths of despair, a single compassionate act can ignite a beacon of hope. Yet, with each step forward, the stakes grew higher, and the danger became all too real. Late one evening, as Michael was returning home after a discreet meeting with another informant, a figure emerged from the darkness. It was the stranger, the very man to whom he had given his last dollar. Time seemed to slow as their eyes met. Michael's filled with a mix of determination and lingering uncertainty, and the stranger's now hardened by the burdens of a concealed past. In that silent exchange, it was as if the years of suffering and sacrifice between them converged into a moment of profound understanding. The stranger spoke in a low, measured tone. "You did what you had to do. Now, it is time to see justice done." With that, he disappeared into the night, leaving Michael with both relief and new questions. The revelation of the stranger's true role, a covert operative planted to expose corruption, shattered the fragile boundaries of Michael's previous existence. He realized that his act of kindness had not only altered his fate, but had also contributed to a larger movement against systemic wrongdoing. In the weeks that followed, the combined efforts of law enforcement and whistleblowers began to unravel the intricate tapestry of lies that had suffocated the city. The corruption network, once thought invincible, was steadily crumbling under the relentless pressure of truth and public accountability. Michael watched from the sidelines as the community he had once passed by in despair began to reclaim its dignity. The scandal that ensued led to sweeping reforms and a renewed faith in justice. Amid the chaos, Michael's own life began to transform. No longer defined solely by his misfortune, he emerged as a symbol of courage, a testament to the idea that even the smallest act of compassion can ripple outward, creating waves of change. In the final hours of this turbulent journey, as the city slowly healed and the dust of corruption settled, Michael found himself reflecting on the nature of destiny. His experience had taught him that the moral weight of every choice, no matter how trivial it might seem, has the power to alter lives. The spark of hope ignited by his single dollar had illuminated a path out of darkness and into a future where justice and integrity prevailed. And so, as we conclude this tale of mystery, redemption, and the transformative power of compassion, remember that every act of kindness has the potential to change the world. If Michael's journey has stirred something within you, if it has inspired you to believe in the power of doing good, even when the odds seem insurmountable, then I invite you to join this ongoing conversation about hope, justice, and the unexpected miracles that lie hidden in our everyday lives. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Spread the message of light in the midst of darkness, and help us build a community dedicated to finding and celebrating the true power of compassion.